Did you know that Dave Kunst was the first person to walk around the entire world? But even he used airplanes to cross oceans during his journey. In total, Dave walked 27,000 kilometers, albeit in segments. But the person we are going to talk about today isn't Dave. In fact, he has probably gone even further. This man is attempting to cross the world's longest continuous route, entirely on foot. Yes, where most people's imagination ends, Carl Bushby's begins. Not 5,000 kilometers, not 10,000, not even 25,000 kilometers. He has already covered an astonishing 47,000 kilometers on foot, and remarkably, his journey is still ongoing. 25 countries, 6 deserts, 7 mountain ranges, and 27 years of time. His mission? To walk the entire world without any support. But how is that even possible? Welcome again to Mir Hub. 31st March 1998. A British soldier steps out of his front door with nothing but a backpack, a pair of boots, and an insane dream. From this moment, he wasn't just walking. He was attempting something no human had ever dared before. His target was not a city, nor a country, but the entire planet. His original plan was to cover 36,000 kilometers across the world's longest land route, but today, decades later, he has walked over 47,000 kilometers, and he is still moving. This wasn't only a journey across land, it was a journey inside the human spirit, stretching the boundaries of endurance. Dave Kunst walked 27,000 kilometers around the world, but relied on airplanes to cross oceans. Carl chose a different path, no shortcuts, no vehicles, no machines, only his feet. His first major test came early, reaching Mexico. 5,000 kilometers of land that felt more like another planet. Endless deserts where temperatures climbed above 40 degrees Celsius, scorching the skin and draining energy in hours. Nights dropped close to freezing and winds howled like wolves in the dark. Every day Carl woke up, dusted sand off his clothes, and wrote the same line in his diary, "I must walk today." This was before the era of modern smartphones and GPS. Carl navigated the world with a paper map and a pencil. He would draw his intended route, fold the map, place it in his pocket, and pray that nature didn't rip it away. He believed that the moment he stopped walking, his dream would collapse. Central America tested him in ways he wasn't prepared for. It took him 2 full years to traverse its jungles and mountains. The heat was suffocating, humidity felt like steam wrapping around the body, and the thick vegetation slowed his steps to a painful crawl. But the real monster was yet to come, the Darien Gap. A place where all roads vanish and the world's most dangerous rainforest begins. Locals told him nobody crosses it willingly. It is a land of poisonous snakes, invisible insects, swamps that swallow men alive, and armed groups that rule the shadows. The humidity hits 100%, oxygen feels thin, and the air itself pushes you down. For more than 3 weeks, Carl battled this hell. Some days he walked 10 kilometers, other days he barely managed 2. The mud pulled at his boots like hands dragging him into the earth. The nights were the worst. He heard strange noises, rustling leaves, distant screams, movements in bushes. Sometimes he slept on fallen logs because the ground was too wet or too alive with insects. His clothes rotted, his skin peeled, but he refused to stop. When he finally emerged from the Darien Gap, he looked like a man halfway between life and death. But he had accomplished something most adventurers wouldn't even attempt. South America welcomed him with its own brutality. The Andes rise above 4,000 meters, where oxygen thins, breaths grow sharper, and the cold pierces the bones. Nights dropped to 10 degrees Celsius, turning his tent into a freezer. Then came Patagonia, where winds blasted him at nearly 100 kilometers per hour, strong enough to shove him sideways. One wrong step could send him tumbling down rocky cliffs. Some days he pushed himself through 40 or even 50 kilometers. Other days he fought just to stay upright. People said he must be superhuman to keep going. But Carl later admitted, "I wasn't strong, I just refused to turn back." Those words became the essence of his journey. By 2010, he had already crossed over 20,000 kilometers. But the biggest twist was waiting for him ahead. To continue east, he needed to reach Alaska and cross the Bering Strait, the icy border between America and Asia. Scientists, explorers, and locals all insisted the same thing. No human can survive that crossing. Temperatures dropped to 40 degrees Celsius. The ice shifted constantly, creating cracks that swallowed anything on top. Snowstorms came without warning, and winds could tear tents to pieces like tissue paper. But Carl was determined. The only way to keep his journey continuous was to cross the strait on foot. In the winter of 2006, Carl and his Russian friend Dmitry stepped onto the frozen sea. For 3 weeks, they crawled, stumbled, and dragged their gear across 80 kilometers of shifting ice. Cracks opened beneath their feet, and they heard the ocean growl below like a hungry beast. Ice sheets collapsed randomly, forcing them to sprint or leap across. One night, a storm ripped their tents so violently that snow filled their sleeping bags. Another time, Carl fell through the ice into freezing water up to his chest. For a split second, he thought his heart would stop from the shock, but instinct kicked in. He grabbed jagged chunks of ice and pulled himself up, coughing and shaking but alive. When they finally stepped onto Chukotka, Russia, they had made history. They became the first humans to walk from America to Asia using only their feet. But Russia didn't celebrate their achievement. Instead, they arrested Carl for illegal entry. One case delayed his expedition for 5 years. 5 years of waiting, negotiating, applying for visas, facing deportation threats, and fighting refusal after refusal. And yet, even through all this, he never abandoned the mission. When he resumed, Asia welcomed him with its own extremes. Russia's Siberian winters dropped below 30 degrees Celsius. Kazakhstan's vast plains roasted him at over 50 degrees Celsius. Mongolia's winds hit nearly 70 kilometers per hour, turning dust into blades that cut into his skin. His feet bled through his socks. Sometimes his soles peeled off in layers. He wrapped bandages, tightened his shoes, and kept walking. A month-long wait at one border nearly broke his spirit, but he stayed patient. Sponsors abandoned him, funds ran dry, and at several points he had almost nothing. But the first step he took in 1998 refused to let him quit. Then came China. Endless highways stretching into the horizon. More than 4,000 kilometers of concrete, villages, cities, deserts, and empty lands. Some days he walked 30 kilometers, other days 50 kilometers. There were stretches where he didn't see a single human for 2 days. No cars, no houses, nothing but the sound of his footsteps echoing into the void. He once said, "Loneliness is the real enemy." But his mission kept his spirit alive, and his mission was bigger than loneliness. In 2020, a new obstacle hit him, the global lockdown. Borders closed, travel halted, and crossing countries became nearly impossible. Carl got stuck for months. The world stood still, but his dream didn't. Even when he couldn't move forward, he trained, planned, and waited for borders to reopen. Time had slowed down, but his determination hadn't. And now, today, as you listen to this story, Carl Bushby has walked over 47,000 kilometers across the planet. Today, he is heading back toward Europe, back toward Britain, the place where his journey began on 31st of March, 1998. After walking across 25 countries, crossing 6 deserts, through 7 massive mountain ranges, and through 27 relentless years, he is now just 3,000 to 4,000 kilometers away from finishing the greatest walking expedition in human history. A journey of nearly 3 decades. A journey longer than the Earth's circumference. A journey carved into the land through his footsteps alone. Carl Bushby's story is not just about walking. It is about confronting the impossible, fighting the odds, and proving that the human spirit can outrun fear, pain, loneliness, politics, borders, and even nature itself. His journey teaches one powerful truth. Nothing in life is truly difficult. Things become difficult only when we stop moving. Carl never stopped. Through hurricanes, deserts, jungles, frostbite, injuries, poverty, and borders, he just kept walking. Because for him, the world wasn't something to fly over. It was something to feel, step by step, under his feet. And if you want more unbelievable, inspiring, and mind-blowing stories like this, then make sure to subscribe to Mir Hub. Your one click can help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers, so we can keep bringing you the world's greatest stories, one extraordinary journey at a time.